Are you getting chased by a bug?
There's a bee in here. What is going on?
Don't get stung by a bee. We don't
I
need
know.
that.
Look at
No
this.
anaphylactic shock for you.
Look at this bee.
Oh my God. Don't swat it.
What is going on? I hit that live now. I tell you, that's reaction time.
Please don't anger the bee.
That's like a wasp.
Please don't get stung.
But I'm a pro. I show up no matter what. I compete.
And now NFL IQ with Cynthia Frelund and Logan Ryan.
Welcome to NFL IQ. I'm Cynthia Frelund. That's Logan Ryan. Make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing about this show. Obviously, the combine happened. We got one thing where Logan actually didn't hate the combine, but we need to talk about all things upcoming free agency, combine, everything. First of all, did any of your friends hurt themselves with you this week?
No, none of my friends hurt my. I wasn't with any of my friends this week. Lucky for them. So they all stayed safe and sound. But Blair, my friend, is having surgery this Thursday for the Achilles tendon that popped in the Dominican. So we're gonna wish a quick and speedy recovery for him.
For sure. Blair, we're happy for you. We're also happy no one else got injured this week. Before we get started, I have to say, this is a stat that just blows my mind. I think it's going to blow all of our listeners' minds too, because I know my mom and dad listen. And on the 6th, so Friday, it will be their 50th, 50th wedding anniversary. So that's a massive stat. I mean, what? Like it's bananas. So I'm
Yeah,
very
what's the
happy for
secret?
that.
Tell me. Trying to make it there, man. One day at a time.
One hour at a time sometimes in this household, but we're like it's wild. So I mean, 50 years. That's
That's
crazy. They
crazy.
obviously had a lot of time before having me, so they have great stories. Before I don't know. I think probably I think their secret would be that my mom's nuts and my dad's normal, and it balances out.
Balance.
Nuts
Balance.
in a good way. She's just
Yep.
wild, that one.
You need that sometimes.
Anyways, let's talk about the combine where of the 8 position groups, 7 improved their 40 time to be the fastest in NFL history. So since we've been tracking this way, which was 2003. That tells me one really, really important stat. Are you ready for what that stat is?
Yeah.
Agents are telling the guys who are going to run slow not to run.
I wish they told me that. I wish they told me that. You know, there used to be that would happen sometimes. You know, I came out in 2013 and there was some of that going on. Like if you weren't testing well, have something come up where you don't test because obviously, well, I don't want to say obviously, but if you test at your pro day in your own house, you sleep in your own bed, in your backyard, at your college with your college coach doing the timing, they tend to be a lot more favorable for you. So that has been around for quite some time. I would say, 12, 13 years ago, it was frowned upon more if you didn't test. It was like you would have to stand up and say, "Hey, I'm not going to run the 40." And they would say, "Why are you not running the 40?" And you have to tell everybody, "Oh, I hurt my ankle." Then they say, "Well, why are you going to do the short shuttle then?" Right? So then you don't do anything. And then coach is like, "Well, you're not a competitor. You don't compete. Your ankle looked fine when we tested you." So I think they would kind of test your competitive drive a little bit, and you just didn't want to be tested like that. So you would go through it. And I saw Joe Hayden come out, talk about how much he hates the combine. He ran slow at the combine. He had a back injury. He ran poorly. I know everyone was freaking out because Joe Hayden's such a good player in college. He was unbelievable. And obviously as a pro. And then at Florida's pro day, he ran 4.3. Combine he ran 4.6 or whatever. So back in the day, you used to run through those things. Nowadays, with the player empowerment movement, guys are smarter. Like, I'm not going to put a bad time out there. Why would I even do that? Forget my pride. I'm going to do what's smart and not run if I don't feel like running or I'm not going to run well. So kudos to them. I just feel like we had a lot more pressure on us back then to have to run.
And you can see that in the numbers too, because of the 320 players that were at the combine invited, only 189 of them ran the 40-yard dash, which actually is the fewest in an NFL combine since last year. Last year was 2000 or 201. So we keep seeing this trend of fewer and fewer players running. So it kind of makes sense that the numbers would go up because
Yeah.
if
Fewer
and now it's not
sacrifice.
really looked down upon. Like, I don't think it's frowned upon, like, at all. It's almost I mean, I would say for the O lineman, it's, like, turned into, like, something funny, right? Like, because this is we've actually seen of the O linemen, which, let's be honest, of all the position groups, like, which one do you care about the 40 least? I would probably say the O lineman, but it's the tallest group, the heaviest group, the fastest, and they jump the highest vertical ever. So you're seeing the guys who are participating are the ones who are going to test well, some self-selection going on there, but pretty funny stuff. I will say another cool part was to see 2 brothers be the fastest at their respective positions in the Styles brothers. That was cute. Fun fact, there actually have been 2 brothers before who've been the fastest at their positions, but not in the same combine. It was either kickers or long snappers, and they were yeah, they were 4 years apart, which is just a funny and I think they were out of Hawaii. It just
Oh,
wasn't the
wow.
first time it's ever happened, but the first in a particular group. I will say the Styles brothers were very, very, serious dudes. I think Sonny Styles may have done himself the most good in terms of elevating his draft position, his draft stock based on a 43.5-inch vert, which is the highest for anyone over 6'4" in combine history. I think he did 11.2 broad. Actually, no, he did. And, obviously running the fastest 40. I also think the thing that matters most for his stock was he interviewed extremely well. Everyone was saying how he just knew kind of what was going on, the parameters of how he was supposed to do it, but he came across very authentic. So Sonny Styles was a big draft riser. Did you see anything about his workout that stood out to you other than the numbers, of course?
I mean, freakish. Both of them were freakish. I mean, I've never played with a linebacker with, 4 what was it, 4.3, 4.2, 4.3
Yeah.
speed.
Yeah. Uh,
Very few. I mean, there's single digits linebackers with that speed, if any. I don't even think you need that much speed at that position at all, but you need to be athletic. You need to cover. I know Fred Warner's extremely athletic. He's not a 4.3. Don't need to be, though. But the athleticism helps. I think, listen, athletes are are trending, these football players are trending to understand what the job assignment is to be track athletes, right? For the, flag football is going to get you extremely athletic. Kids have speed coaches earlier in development. They understand the speed, the size, the speed that you need to perform the NFL. I think the NFL is not the most skilled sport out of all sports, but it's definitely one of the most athletic sports in terms of size and speed and stuff like that. And I think
yeah.
kids are specializing at an earlier age to come and dominate these numbers. It was as much as a focus as it was years prior. I will say this though, uh, I can't remember his last name, but a lineman from the Chargers been on Twitter and on X that is, and he made the comment that if guys aren't going to compete at the combine, they shouldn't go to the combine
Mhm.
because it used to be about competition.
Yep.
And like I said, back in the day, we used to feel like, hey, I gotta go because other guys are running, and if I don't run, that's gonna be frowned upon. Now guys are choosing. You said how many guys competed?
189. So, I mean, we're almost at the
189 out of how
halfway.
many?
320. We're
Right.
almost at half.
Almost half the guys that went didn't do the events that they're there to do. And there are so many guys in college that would die for a combine invite, that would
That's right.
love the opportunity to interview, would love the opportunity to run, to compete, to show what they can do in position drills, to show what they can do. So if we're inviting half these guys, they're saying, "Hey, you're good. You don't have to run or run later.
Yep.
Don't even compete." Then what are we doing? If they should send you a form, and if you're not going to run, just like a bowl game, you're not going to play in a bowl game. Don't go. If you're not going to run at the combine or do the things that are on TV, then don't go because there's plenty of people that deserve that opportunity. I agree with that wholeheartedly. It's crazy that we hype up this event, that we're still trying to figure out how much it does with football, and then the top football players don't even do it because they know it doesn't have that much to do with football. Allow some other guys the opportunity. If you're not gonna compete
Agreed.
in majority of the events, don't go.
Yep.
Do it at your pro day, have them come find you, but they're going to go get the medical done, they're going to go do the interviews, and they're doing nothing else athletically. I think it's taking away 100 and some spots from willing football players that wanna go out there and need that opportunity.
I'm with you. I will give the one asterisk though if you are recovering from an injury. So if you just if you just got I don't know, I do feel bad for some of those guys that like, oh, they had an ACL or just coming back, that kind of thing. Like I could maybe give them a little bit of
Yeah.
grace, but if you're just choosing not to, I don't know, not my favorite decision because I think when you see the guy I mean, I think part of it is, like, how well you can do the like, when I applied to college or grad school, I have to take, the required test, and I have to get all my grades in and do the interview, like, all that stuff. If I was like, "You know what? I will do my essay on my own time," like, what are you talking about? So I think part of the job interview and part of the way that this goes is just merely taking part in the test, right? Like, can you do all the required steps? And if you're not hurt, I just I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't. Eh, I don't know. You're a great athlete. We've seen your film. You're like, I don't care if you run a little bit slower. I know some people do, but I don't know. I that
Yeah, but the way they hype it up, I mean, if I go right now on NFL.com, it's gonna say the top combine risers and the top combine fallers, and I don't have to watch the whole combine to say, "Oh, these 5 guys, they sunk their stock." I don't see the top combine non-participants. I just see the guys that did it and didn't do it well.
right.
So, there are people and that stock does happen where my stock, quote, unquote, "dropped" after I ran a 4.5 and jumped mid-30s and jumped 10 something broad, not 11 something broad jump. I saw my stock fall right after the combine, and I had to be like, "Oh my god, what do I gotta do to get it back?" And all this stuff, and it's just this hypothetical stock, I guess you would say,
Right.
where it all
I
worked
mean,
out in the end for me, but I felt like by competing, I felt like I fell, and maybe nowadays I wouldn't have competed, or they would have advised me to not compete to fall, but the competitor in me would still wanna go.
I think the better thing is, like, when you hear Daniel Jeremiah or, draft analysts like myself say Daniel Jeremiah says plenty fast enough, right? Like that he says a lot, right? Like he'll be like, that's plenty fast. I think that's all you should care about. Like as long as you're plenty fast, it doesn't need to be like these marginal differences. Like it's fun for us because sure, like you see these like old men with their like whatever, and some women too, but like old men with a clocker timer, like they hold their hands like this and I mean, it's just silly, but it's fun to see someone run fast. Sure. But I don't think it should necessarily be a knock unless it's something crazy slow, like over a 5, like whatever. So we've talked about that before. I mean, this Kenyon Sadiq stuff. So like this tight end, he ran a 4.39. Some people were like, I loved this Twitter conversation or X conversation that was like, oh, some of the hand timers had him at 4.32. Oh,
Mm,
some of them at 4.36. Like he's fast. He's faster than Vernon Davis. He
Vernon
set a
Davis
record.
Wiles.
Yeah, he ran a measly 4.40, which is so different than a 4.39. Like, point being is, yes, he's fast. We
Plenty
knew he was
fast enough.
fast enough, right? So it's just very interesting when stuff like that happens, right? It's fun. We get bored standing there. Like I stood there the whole time. I participated in some of the side to side drills. Whoo, I
What
am
yeah, what were your numbers? What were you looking like?
terrible. I mean, I ran in leather pants. Like, I have this, like, weird tendency of, like, doing all these things, and I was laughing the whole time, like, the Packers run this drill on the side. Did you do it? So you start in this middle, you have to put your hand down and then run the direction of your hand, then run the other direction, then come back.
Yeah,
So, like,
the short
5,
shuttle.
10. Yep, and I was terrible at it. I mean, I ran it in a
I was
7, but
sub 4 seconds in that. Elite.
I I laughed. You were sub 4 I was 7 seconds. I mean, I was laughing the whole time. And I also wasn't gonna slip. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine, like, ripping my pants and having to stand there for, like, 6 more hours? No, absolutely not. So, whatever. I was pretty terrible, but at least I followed directions and I didn't slip. That was
There
a
you go.
a big deal. The other thing I wanna point out before we keep moving on to these things, the guys who slip when they're on the helmet, FYI, that is the slipperiest part of the field. If you back up and try to do side to side lateral drills on the painted part of the field, you're
Yeah.
going to slip. That
Mm.
field is made out of cork and coconut. And when it's painted, it's slick. It's always the case. Also, they talk about the ball tracking. The ball tracking drills. Reggie Wayne will tell you he used to turn off the light, have them turn off the light that's okay. So Lucas Oil has like these 2 strings of lights. So the ones that are closest to the end zone, Reggie used to have them turn it off because it's very like it's in your field of vision. So some of those guys can't track it. And Reggie was like, it was an advantage. Now, I asked him, "Did you turn it back on when the other offense was on the field?" He wouldn't answer. So
Mm.
let's watch that in Colts games this year.
Oh,
But
wow.
but point being is, so if these guys aren't, like, tracking it on these deep balls great, like, that light is it's very bright, and
Well, are
it's
the
hard to
lights on in the game? Because different I told you this, different stadiums, when you go track a deep ball and you're a post safety and you gotta find the angle, then look up and find the
Yep,
ball in New Orleans Saints Stadium, the
yep,
black, Mercedes-Benz Dome or whatever,
yep,
I've lost the ball in there.
100%.
The Colts, I caught a pick in the Colts stadium, but I would just say, like, yeah, different stadiums, it's different,
Yep,
night game, day game. People's like, "How'd he drop that? How do you gotta see what you're tracking against the lights,
yep.
in the snow versus you catch a brown football in the pitch dark, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on, and that's what, you really gotta replicate how it is, and I always used to go out there in the stadium and catch a lot of balls before the game to get used to the stadium lights, because when that scoreboard's going and you go flash up in the sky for a quick second to track a ball, you gotta get used to, what the lights that does play a huge part. I don't think the fans really understand. They think every deep ball in every stadium is the exact same ball. It's not.
So but that's one thing, I guess, especially for, like, some of these defensive backs and stuff, people are like, "Oh, like, I read some of the stuff too where it's like risers and "Oh, he didn't catch a lot of passes." I'm like, number 1, he's a defensive back. Number 2, he was running on the helmet. That's the painted area. It's slippery. Number 3, you like, what do you don't need to get like, why is that anyways, so those
No,
are
well,
things.
first of all, I gotta say a couple things here about DBs.
Okay. Okay.
The great ones can catch. You gotta be able to catch because you gotta be able to turn the ball over, and that's what you get paid to turn the ball over. They don't
Fair.
pay you for
But how
PBU.
many times do you run a gauntlet? Like, how many times are 10 balls coming at you, like, or 7 in, like, a 1-minute time period?
Uh, I mean, I would do it every day if I was training for the combine, and I used to catch with the receivers' jugs every day after practice because if I catch 6 or 7 or 8 interceptions, if I catch 1 interception
When
every other game, I get generational wealth. I get
Yep,
$20 million plus a year. So these wide receivers catch on the jugs every day after practice.
yep.
And they also catch about 50, 60 balls in practice from running routes, routes on air, with the quarterback. I can't tell you how many balls Gronk and Julian Edelman caught from Brady during practice on the sideline.
Yep.
I might catch 5 balls a practice. So how am I gonna catch the interception if I'm only gonna catch 25 balls a week against a receiver who's caught 500 balls a week?
Right.
And the ball's in the air. He probably has better tracking skills than me. So I always felt like I had to work harder before and after practice to work on that as opposed because I don't get as many reps as a wide receiver does uh, during a normal standard practice. So to me, ball skills, I'm not drafting a DB high if he can't catch the ball. That's a big thing. I
But if he
saw
has
Tyrann
one deep
Matthew.
drop, if he has one deep, because some of the things that I saw, and I was there, like, the defense was I was
Oh.
very close for every single defensive player's workout. I was on the field with them. And sometimes it's like one drop. And just so you know who the quarterbacks that were throwing this, it was Kyle Trask was throwing it, and then I can't remember his name, but he was in on the practice team with the Packers last year. And so they're trying to get like
Yeah,
another.
NFL guys throwing it.
Mhm. Yep.
Oh, I
And
didn't know that.
so it's but they're also they get more tired because some of these drills, like, last a long time. So you're telling me you can't catch it if it's a wobbly throw, like, I don't know, sometimes I get, like I'm like,
Tired, Cynthia. Come on, man. They're not
it's
even wearing
one
pads.
it's one bad it's one drop, and now you're
Hey,
gonna I don't know.
it's 140. It's 140.
It
When you're
drives me
thinking that
crazy.
40. I watched more than I thought I was gonna watch at the combine, and I watched the DBs, and they were running. But when I
Yep.
saw those position drills, few guys, I thought Colton Hood was good. I thought,
Yep,
AJ
Tennessee.
Terrell's brother,
He had a
Avion Terrell
great
was good.
barbell yeah, Avion Terrell, AJ's
I
brother.
love I love the Washington corners to be
Yep.
6'4" and play man-to-man coverage. That's a premium in the NFL. But man, I saw some guys with 0 ball skills. I saw some
0.
guys with no hip fluidity. I'm talking about I saw my parents are in town. My dad watched it. My dad's been watching the combine since I was in the combine, and he just said, "Horrible." He said, "This position drills these guys look horrible. They're so tall, so fast, but some of the breaks and stuff that I saw is not good enough at the NFL level. And I think when you train so hard for the combine, once you run that good 40, now you got to start training to play football now. Now you're out of track training, and now you better start pedaling every day. You better start braking. You better start flipping. I'm telling you, because they will draft you, and you will come to spring ball pretty much in OTAs in a few months, and you better remember how to cover people and flip your hips
That's right.
because you'll get exposed quick, and the articles will come out really fast whether you can play or not play. So that's a big thing I focused on when I was training and still playing a lot of football and still simulating that. And I dominated the positional drills. I saw Tyrann Mathieu talk about, I was there. He only benched it 3 times now. He only did 3 reps on the bench or 4, and they were booing him and like, what? He said, pounding my chest. They were trying to pound his chest. He said, I ain't going to be down here long. He did 4 reps on the bench. He ran his 40. But on the field drills, Tyrann Mathieu was elite, caught every ball. Caught his ball, put it behind his head, showed off with the ball skills. And it shows you this guy might be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So those are what we look at, I feel like, as players, is the field drills. You really see who can play and not play in that setting. And some guys, for what I saw, got some work to do.
So the one that I thought stood out that I don't think is getting enough shine, I think he's going to be, my favorite is the guys who are second or third rounders. I love Friday guys, right? That's where I like to figure out, because the end of Friday and the beginning of Friday that's just a huge difference, right? So I like the Georgia corner. His name's Dalen Everett. He did run a blazing fast 40. It was like 4.38. So okay, I don't care about that though, because when I was watching, first of all, I got a chance to ask the scouts who interviewed well. He interviewed well. Great. That's big check. You have to be able to talk ball with the people who are going to employ you. Huge, huge thing, right? So I just thought when watching his footwork, he tracked really, really well. Now, he has some work to do, but he did play with guys like Kamari Lassiter, so you've seen how he handles his on-field responsibilities. I know he had a pick. I believe it was an SEC championship game. I know it was in the playoffs, whatever. I'm so confused how college works now, but ultimately that's a guy who, to me, did himself. I don't care about these top guys, whatever. People stop talking about Arvell Reese now. That guy had a monster workout. Sonny Styles did maybe better than people thought, but Arvell Reese's film is still incredible. What? So long story short is, like, I think sometimes we don't talk about the guys who performed as they should, but I thought he was one. And of course he went to Georgia, so the pedigree's there. So I don't know. I think people aren't talking about him enough. So Dalen Everett, that's one that I
I
think
got
to
to
keep
look.
an eye on.
Here's my quick 5. I would say that from my knowing ball, seeing some guys, I got Dean. I got Colton Hood.
Love.
I like Colton Hood.
Also interviewed well.
Yes. I got Sicario Davis out of Washington. When you're
Love
6'4" and
DeCario.
you play man-to-man, that's a top 3 corner drafted. I got your boy Mansour, how you pronounce his last name?
Delane, I think.
Delane. Yeah,
Mhm.
I like him.
Yep,
I
out
like
of
Avion
LSU.
Terrell out of Clemson
AJ's
and
brother.
Chandler Rivers. So these are guys that I think can play. And the athleticism's there. I like the little corner out of Indiana.
Everyone loved him, but
Jumped
I was
out the
we were also in
building.
Indiana, so
Yep. So I think Hood as well. So I think those are some guys that I've seen briefly that I think are going to be fine corners in the league and
yep, yep.
early feedback.
Yeah, I
I'm
love it.
not necessarily seeing a guy run 4.2. It's like, oh, that's my number 1 corner now. Like, I don't think so much about football is about recognition. It's chaos. None of it's time. None of it's at a static start. You got to know when, timing, when to flip, when to run, when not to run full speed, when to break down. And I think that's why some of your better players know how to change speeds, play at a slower pace. Like a Puka Nakua is not going to run a 4.3 at you. So he's slowing you down and taking your 4.3 out the game because he's never going to run that. But he knows how to change speed and run across that middle at a full 4.6. And there's some 4.3 guys that they run across the middle at a 5.0 flat.
Yep.
They're worried about getting their head knocked off. So there's definitely a lot of chaotic movement in a football game that's very hard to simulate in a combine setting.
Let's talk about the Puka Nacua stuff, right? And let's talk about hard to simulate Durant. Listen, it's under dispute his 40 time. Oh God, what is it? Carnell Tate. I don't
Ugh.
give a crap what his 40 time is, but he solidified himself for me as number one wide receiver. Number one, um, the interviews. Again, interviews matter a lot. That's the teams that will be it's the most direct fit interview ever. I know the 30s are coming, so NFL teams get to bring in 30 players to their facilities to
Yeah,
test them out, work them
top
through
30
drills, but
players. Yeah.
exactly. But, as Reggie Wayne will tell you, sometimes, like, the Colts didn't interview him, but then
Yeah,
they
you
picked
don't
him
need
anyway.
to. You don't
So
need to.
it doesn't really matter, but long story short, it's like, you know, I don't know, going through all of the parameters that actually matter. Carnell Tate to me, number 1, his interviews were best, his podium was best, you know, his film is top 3. There was, like, 3 guys that were, like, 1 A, B, and C. To me, he's now 1 A, and it's not really close.
I would say, what did Carnell say, around a 4.5?
I don't know, it's disputed. Let's see what it's like. I don't know what it's technically gonna fall at. People dispute it. 4.53,
Yeah.
something like that.
That's what I ran. Why did my stock drop? That's plenty fast. Plenty fast enough.
Plenty fast.
To me, that's plenty fast. If you can play at a 4.5 in the NFL, that's probably what the average speed is played at, in terms of like from snap to snap. And my biggest thing when you talk about stamina is can you run that 4.5 3 plays in a row? Right? Can you play at that speed consistently and make people cover that? Not run a 4.4 and then play at a 4.6 for the next 2 snaps because you're not in good enough shape.
Right.
So we talk about those Ohio State wide receivers, what they're doing in the league. The body control is unbelievable, the nuance, the route craft, and I think that's kind of just been the MO there, them, LSU, some of these guys just really are factories with that. And
Yeah.
I agree. If if you honestly, an interview is how much you love ball, in my opinion, because if you love it, you're gonna be prepared for it, meaning you're gonna know what positions you are, you're gonna know what routes you like to run, you're gonna know, like
You're gonna know what was called on certain,
exactly, you're gonna have a good enough if you love
because some guys didn't know that.
that's what, in my opinion, that's what the
Weird.
interviews were there to say, how much do you love ball? Because when we pay you, right, you still gotta love ball.
Yep.
When you cry on draft day and you buy your mom a house and your dad a car, are you still gonna wake up and the next day or whatever and get back to work? Or is it like, I only dreamed of making it to this moment and now I made it, so therefore my work is done. And really your work's just beginning. And that's a big crucial moment in your life because all of our dreams when we're kids is to make it to the NFL.
Yep.
Very few would say, I want to be an NFL Hall of Famer. Once you make it to the NFL, you get drafted, then you reset your goals of,
That's right.
I want to start, I want to be a Hall of Famer. But you have to dive back in with the work. And some later draft picks, Tom Brady is like, I got to go right to work, right? There was, he got drafted, he was happy, and then he went right to work. It wasn't like he was number 1 overall,
Nope.
got the money, and was like, oh, I'm chilling. And that's what happens to some guys. So I think that's what the interview's there to show is how much you love ball. And there's a good amount of guys in the league that don't love ball. They love
Right.
what ball gives them. They love what ball, the attention, the reputation, the money that comes with it. And they'll do the bare minimum they can to keep skating by each level based on their athleticism, right? And that's enough. So that's truly what the interview is how bad you want it, how bad you love it. And if Carnell Tate has that, he's good because a wide receiver is not a position where you have to interview well at any position. But offensively, if I think the position that matters the least when it comes to an interview is probably wide receiver.
This is where I think, like I agree with you that it probably matters the least of any position.
It still
However,
matters though.
it still matters. And I think there are certain things that have to happen in these interviews that I would say didn't happen in all of it. And this might be, again, like the positive of NIL and transfer portal is now you get a lot more opinions about a specific player because they've been in different systems, and you see how they handle money, presumably. Some of them, most of them, like the top guys. Okay. But the drawback is they don't learn the playbook as much. And this is where the wide receiver interviews have changed because
Right.
I will tell you this year, many, not just so you know, this is not about Carnell Tate. Not a Carnell Tate note, not a Casey Concepcion note, not a like some of these guys that are right at the top. Denzel Boston also did well. Anyways, not a note about any of these guys, Jordan Tins, whatever, all these people.
How do you know who does well and doesn't know well? Your
I
sources
ask.
tell you that?
I ask.
Coaches and stuff tell you that?
Yeah. I just say that I never say who and I never say which. But I if I hear it 5 times, it's probably true.
Mm.
If I hear it once, not a lot of smoke there.
Now, does a
Because
bad
everyone's
interview, if a guy's a
like,
bad interview,
bad
do you
interview
do
means
you
they
see
don't.
teams do you see teams take him off the board? Do you see teams say that drops him down a draft, a round? Like, what is a bad interview? What have you seen that do for a
Manifest
guy?
as, like, how does it what does it turn out to be? The the marginal differences between player X and player Y, like, they won't trade up for it's not worth trading up a few slots for, because the thing is those interviews, unless you do something, I'm talking wildly bad, like, you say something crazy, they're not gonna drop you around. But what they could do is if I'm picking at 20 and I'm this is complete, like, fake making this up. I'm not gonna give up any extra equity to get you at 16, right? I'm not gonna give up what it would take for me to go up and get you if you've not made me feel like you're gonna be a good fit on my team, right? Whereas you would it's not gonna change your round. I mean, unless you could, I guess, drop out of the first into the beginning of the second, something like it's not gonna change within 10 slots, but it will change their their desire to trade up to get you, or trade back into the second round or first round, or what trade, to maneuver the draft board to get you, because all the teams have about a range where they think someone will go. And if they really love you, they'll stretch a little to get you. Because if you saw what happened with the Houston Texans a couple of years ago when they traded back in to get both CJ Stroud and Will Anderson Jr., proved to be pretty great for them. But that also they had to believe so strongly in those players that they were willing to give up what could have come from the potential in the future, right? Well, I would say if you interview poorly, it drops them from wanting to reach to get you.
Well, yeah, I would say, look, if you don't love ball, I mean, I wouldn't draft you at all because it's just not going to work out. Like Jason Light, yeah, I would say the Bucks draft pretty well, and Jason Light's, figured that out over the last few years,
Yep.
definitely. I know Antoine Winfield and Tristan Wirfs. So I'm like, how are you guys both not first rounders? Like, how's Antoine Winfield Jr.
I don't know.
not a first rounder? Like when I played with this kid, unbelievable right away. Like again, I don't know the interview process. He went in
I
second
think, like,
round.
position, sometimes
Maybe, yeah,
people
well, okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
I'm
But
suggesting
but the
I'm not
Bucks
saying
got
I
him,
would.
right? The Bucks got him, top of the second round. A plug and play day one, not nickels, no, starter, any a top 11 position, play
Yep.
multiple. And Jason Light said, our strategy is we wanna draft guys that love ball, and they'll figure it out. Obviously, it's more than that, but if you don't love ball, we're not gonna draft you because you're just not gonna fit in into a championship organization. You're just not gonna fit in, and you're just not gonna last long enough. And, I think that's like a do you wanna come to work? That's gotta be the number one thing you gotta answer for me, more than a 40. If you run a 4.6 and you tried 100 times, and you're out there trying to better that, I'll take that guy
Right.
over the 4.4 guy that doesn't love ball.
Let's fast forward this into the running back and the quarterback position, because I feel like there are 2 guys who are cemented as number 1, right? One participated in the combine, Jeremiyah Love, and he was doing backflips and, like, I mean, I actually don't like when the guys do backflips. Can you imagine getting hurt doing a freaking backflip after your combine? Whatever. It's fun to watch, but it scares the living crap out of me. I'm like, "Sir, no."
They're not
But
they're not they're not in their mid-30s. They're not worried about that right now.
I just think stupid things can happen, but whatever. And then Fernando Mendoza, who basically was in bubble wrap the entire, combine, right? I told him, "Perhaps you should come out in a hyperbaric chamber, like, really lean into this whole, like, I'm not participating drill," like,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. So, I guess my question is, the 2 strategies kind of resulted in the same thing. Now, running backs are not as much of a premium position, so perhaps he was trying to solidify himself as a top 10 draft pick in Jeremiyah Love. His Notre Dame film is awesome. Fernando Mendoza, it's kinda like Mendoza and then, like,
Yeah.
everyone else, at least perception-wise. So, how do you view both of those strategies? Because they kinda got them to the same relative place at their position.
I mean, quarterback at the combine, I don't really know what they have to do at a combine. They don't have to. I don't care what they bench. I guess the 40 is great, but I mean, if I look at the top quarterbacks, I have no idea what their 40s are in the NFL.
Who
Um,
cares? If they're running that long, like,
right.
unless they're, like, a guy who's
So
supposed to
much of what the
run.
quarterback has to do is
Right.
irrelevant. Then you're throwing to receivers that, first time ever. There's just I understand Mendoza. Like I completely understand it. It can only hurt you. Honestly,
Only hurt you.
out of the combine for a quarterback for that position can only hurt you. A running
Yep.
back, that's a he-man position now. That's a specimen type position. We want to see what you could do versus other guys, run and cut and jump, and you should go dominate that as a running back. Like you run all day and it's a running event. So you should go dominate that. And Jeremiah Love dominated that. And I love him. I would take him high. I'm a fan. I think he's gonna the team that needs a running back, the first team that wants to improve their offense. I'm taking him over a wide receiver, right? Because he gets the rock. I understand we look at future contract value and Jeremiah Love, Carnell, Tate. If I need a running back and a wide receiver, he looks like the better college player to me.
So, let me ask you this question. The Jets, picking 2. They trade away their, one of their best pass rusher, whatever, and then they franchise tag Breece Hall,
True.
telegraphing their picks. Like, they're just the what, like,
Yeah, they're
I
getting a
mean,
pass rusher. Yeah.
what's that?
I say, yeah, they're getting a pass rusher.
Yes. Like, if they don't, I mean, I guess the thing is, like, if they don't, that'd be really weird, right?
Yeah,
But, I
yeah.
mean,
And
is
look,
that the move? Like, or do you think I don't know, I might, like, at least tell some people I'm in love with Jeremiah like, I don't know, like, at least try to fleece them a little bit because it's
I think the fact that they have leverage over Breece Hall with that franchise tag, which we talked about last episode. So if
you're
you don't know what
forcing
that is,
someone to play for you that doesn't wanna be there.
yeah, check out. That's what the franchise tag's all about. No one's happy to get franchise tagged. So you got your franchise player unhappy, probably not coming out to any workouts until camp. And we'll see how the season goes when your best player isn't there and half the plays are designed for him. It doesn't make sense. Just pay the guy the deal. If you want him to stay a Jet or let him walk. The tag kind of is a team's tool they can use, but it usually makes the player so unhappy. So now you're gonna have a long offseason with Breece Hall versus the
Right.
Jets, and we'll see what it is and how that plays out.
And then what
But
about yeah, I mean,
but
and then now you see Kenneth Walker not being tagged.
the Seahawks just have a lot of. I really like Kenneth Walker as a back. I wish he would stay a Seahawk. Yeah, I think he earned the ability to stay a Seahawk for quite some time. But I don't. They obviously know something we don't. They're there every single day, and they've had success with last season and tread on tires and all that stuff they like to bring up. So,
Well,
you
to be
know,
fair, the running back position, I mean, the reason that Breece Hall's tag is, like, around 14, 15 million is because it's the average of the top 5, right?
Yep.
Saquon's the highest running back number, 16. So, that's not that much when you have Sam Darnold on a relatively cheap deal. So, I mean, I guess the thing is, like, you have to remember the cap got 10% higher, so
yeah.
we went up another amount. It's over it's a
So
crazy
look at
2 to 1.
we're gonna look at the receiver market, right? The free agency market and wide receiver. Mike Evans is in there. I think Alec Pierce. What is Alec Pierce going to get in the free agency market?
That's a really good question. Because what is he? Like, is he a wideout 1? Is he a wideout 2?
I would say he's a wide. I mean, he can provide something different for your offense than maybe your wideout one. If you have a JSN and you don't have Rashid Shaheed come back, maybe Alex Pierce is there to go stretch the top of the defense. So you're going to pay Alex Pierce $20-some million to
Yep.
do that. But we're not going to pay Kenneth Walker $14 million. So, 15 million a year, he's a Super Bowl MVP. So that's when I talk about the impact on the game
Yep.
versus what people get paid based on position.
Yep.
And when I started seeing number 3 receivers getting paid $10 million a year, to jog in on third down, run a 5-yard out route, and jog off the field. I said, hold on, we got a problem. Because
We got a
I'm
problem here.
covering
Houston?
every single play. Running backs are running every single play, playing a lot of snaps. And there's some receivers playing 30% of snaps on offense to run third down routes and getting paid 10, 8, 9, 10 million a year to be a third down wide receiver.
So here's my take on this. We have a nice crop of wide receivers in this class. We have a nice crop of wide receivers coming out next year. We have NIL that is paying the wide receiver position quite a lot of money. Do you know what that's going to do? In my opinion, when there's more supply, it will drive down the price because the demand is going to remain the same. Like we were at a point where now NFL teams threw the ball more, so the demand increased. But now the supply has exceeded the demand. Elasticity says I think the price for that wideout 3 will go down. Like it just it can't keep going up because you can't pay another position, right? This is why these safeties are being looked at in this like weird way where like they need to come up with a different because is Kyle Hamilton the same as other guy? No. So it's a very interesting dynamic. And by the way, we didn't even talk about Caleb Downs because he didn't do anything at the combine, but because his brother Josh Downs, a wide receiver, is a Indianapolis Colt. I did get kind of the scoop on him from Reggie Wayne, who I worked with at the combine. Are you getting chased by a bug?
There's a bee in here. What is going on?
Don't get stung by a bee. We don't
I
need
know.
that.
Look at
No
this.
anaphylactic shock for you.
My God.
Be careful with that bee. But Josh Downs, brother of Caleb Downs, just says, Reggie's gotten to spend some time with him. Good, like excellent kid. He would imagine it's just going to be all upside for him. So funny that, one's a wide receiver,
Yeah.
one's a safety.
You listen to 5 minutes of Caleb Downs on any interview, and he passed the interview for me.
I love the glasses, poke up
Oh,
like he's a
yeah.
politician,
I
you
saw
know?
stuff come out about, bad medical or something. This is what they did to Will Johnson last year. This is what they did to Will Johnson. Oh, his knee.
Which team's drafting in, like, the 20s? Oh, maybe it's the Bills that did it. The Bills are like, we could really use his
Well,
services.
see,
Let's
that's what I don't like, right? You guys are like,
Not
not you
true.
guys, but right. So, does that happen where teams spread bad news or fake news to hurt a guy's, uh, to
To
have
my
their
knowledge,
chances slide
no.
to them?
To my knowledge, no, but they all joke about it. They all joke like, "Hey, like, you got a knee injury?" Like something it's a joke they make. I don't think they do that though, because like, think about it, their agents then, think about this cascade of how agents work, like, they've got other clients, and they'd be like, "You screwed me on this, blah, blah, blah." Like, so I don't think they would maliciously do that, but they make jokes about it and,
Well, I saw it
sometimes
happen to
to
Will
the
Johnson
advantage.
for real last year. Will
Yeah,
Johnson was clearly I might have been on this podcast talking about how good Will Johnson's gonna be and is, and at corner for the Arizona Cardinals out of Michigan. I mean, more interceptions,
yep,
more pick sixes and touchdowns given up in college. That
yep.
tells me all I need to know to draft you very high for me. And his knee issue or something at the combine slid him to the second round, and then he ends up making all rookie team and being a heck of one of the best young corners in football. What do you know? The guy that was really good at football in college is really good at football.
Right.
And
He was a little injured though, but I don't know if part of that's because the Cardinals were not in it and they were being a little conservative. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, he was a little injured. I mean, he started like I called the game week 1. He
Yeah.
got the game played great. Like
Yep.
he played right away. So look, injuries are a part of the game. I understand you're making long-term investments.
12 he played 12 games.
A lot of rookies don't play all year, I'll tell you
I'm
that.
I'm not I'm just, my point is no, I loved Will Johnson too. I thought he was gonna go ask my, you know, I told my husband, I'm like, this guy, top 10 for sure. And then he slid and I was like, well, Cardinals got a great deal there.
Yeah, great deal. Listen,
Great deal there.
Downs got to be a top 5 pick. That kid is unbelievable. Defensive changer, what you can do with them, what you can use them, position flexibility, kind of just an identity. If you got to improve your defense, right? You got to have, we're bad on Bengals, we're bad on defense, or Cowboys, we're bad on. Go get that guy. That's the guy to start to help your defense in a lot of ways. And he's a guy that's going to bring players around him. To me, he's a defensive quarterback. right? He's a quarterback of
You
a
give
defense.
my guy Christian Parker at the Cowboys a Caleb Downs, and that's a I mean, I think we already both think the Cowboys are a playoff team next year, but you give them if with the right I mean, let's assume that they improve their defense in certain areas, but you give them Caleb Downs, okay, see you in the playoffs. I think he's that much of a game changer.
Yeah, no, I'm all about him. I love the kid. I think
Yep.
some things are obvious. Let's not hope this long, lengthy process all of a sudden starts to drop his worth because of how long the process is.
Right.
I think if the draft was a week after national championship, Fernando Mendoza would be up there, Jeremiah Love would be up there, Ruben Bain. I heard his arms are too short. Oh no, now his arms are too short
Okay,
to
let's
play
talk
in the
about that.
NFL.
That
What
same with my guy out of I mean, my guy Cassius Howell, his arms are really short too. And I'm sitting there and you'd act like you would have thought that they had like 10-inch minus 10-inch arms. They like the plus and the minus, right? Like how the plus is it's relative to your height. So these are ridiculous things, and a half an inch off of what people think is ideal is not like, think about it. I'm tight this morning. Y I didn't do my yoga yet, and it's cold in Indy. It was very cold this week. So you're telling me that's I don't know, that drives me nuts. That drives me nuts, and I'm an analytics person.
The famous Burrow tweet, "Oh no, it's time to retire. I was told my hands are too small and the ball's gonna look at this beat.
Oh my god. Don't swat it.
What is going on?" I hit that live now. I tell you that's reaction time. Now
Please
I'm
don't
worried.
anger the bee.
That's like a wasp. I don't understand what's happening
Yeah,
today.
please don't get stung.
But I'm a pro. I show up no matter what. I compete.
You compete.
So here we go. So yeah, so Burrow's tweet about his hands being too small. That was the whole Joe Burrow knock. And they drafted number 1, and boy, are they happy they drafted number 1
Oh,
because he
no,
can
those
still
short
play
the
football.
and
So
he plays in the cold. The small hands can't work in the
it
cold. Did you
matters.
know
Yeah,
that?
and there's never been a quarterback with hands this small in the cold, and it's not well until Joe Burrow. Now it's not a thing.
Also, you know how they I don't know if our audience knows. So the way that they measure your hands, they basically it's the tip of your it's this distance, right?
yeah, from
And I have teeny hands. I have really well, okay, not teeny, they're not outsized small, but I don't have big hands. I have like long fingers and a mitt, but I have flexible hands. So my hands, because of their flexibility, measure like really big, which is hilarious because I just have flexible hands. They push them against the flat surface and they see the distance. If you don't have very flexible hands, if you have very strong hands, my grip strength is like 0. But if you have strong hands, your grip strength can change the flexibility. Grip, flexibility, those 2 things are
yeah,
inversely related.
and guys do that. Guys will literally now stretch their hands or have somebody, I guess a hand therapist, I have no idea,
I
come
can't.
and stretch out their hands, and their hands will grow or have more length by the time their pro day comes around because never in your life do these tests matter, but during these months, these are the things that tend to matter.
Therabody, here's a new machine, a Therabody hand stretcher. Like, what are we doing here?
I know. Crazy.
Is the bee still around you? What's going on with the bee?
I don't know where the bee's at. It's in my blind spot.
Okay, I'll keep looking. I don't
Yeah,
see it
you let me
yet.
know.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
I got
Jeez,
trust.
if I could see it. You better trust me. I better like, if I can see it, that's the problem. Okay, let's talk about one more trade. David Montgomery is now a Houston Texan. Juice Scruggs is up in Detroit, solidifying or trying to figure out something with their O-line, plus I think a 4th and a 7th. So let's talk about that really quickly. Like, what do you think? Like, to me, the O-line movements, we've seen a bunch of O-line move around. That's one of the things that I think this free agency will be really big on because I'm very interested to see all the different moves for O-linemen.
Well, one, having a bad O-line will cost you a Super Bowl, or you can't win a Super Bowl without a good O-line. I've seen so many Super Bowls lost because of the opposite pass rush. You can view it as we got to improve our pass rush, which Houston has a great one. So now they're saying, I think Houston's definitely going to go to beef up their O-line, and I love David Montgomery in Houston. If CJ Stroud struggled a little bit, the best thing you got to get him is what? Not a receiver number 2, you get him a running back.
A
Okay?
receiver 3. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
not a receiver 3. Combine that salary with receiver 2 salary and go pay Saquon $30 million a year. That's what you need to do. You need to go find a running back and a revamped O-line Now you have balance, and so much pressure is taken off the quarterback. Instead of being a pass-first offense, CJ Stroud runs it, we're a run-first offense. And when the defense brings this eighth man in the box, all stuff we discussed on our show, now, CJ, it's easier reads for Nico Collins. It's easier reads for Tank Dell for you to find your guys. We're simplifying the game by taking the pressure off of the quarterback, putting the pressure more on the O-line and the running game. I love the moves. I can see exactly what Houston is doing. Obviously, it's hard when you have to pay Gibbs and Montgomery, and you know that when you draft great and you have young talent in Detroit, eventually you can't keep that forever,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Jack Campbell, Gibbs, Brian Branch, like, all of these young guys all at once are kind of, like, because of where they were drafted, remember?
Laporta is gonna need something eventually, right? And you got
Exactly.
Amon-Ra taken care of, you got J-Mo. So you can't pay everyone at every position,
No.
and that's why the windows are so hard in the NFL to win, because you might have that great team for, like, 2 years, and then a guy's gotta go. See the B? A guy's gotta go, another guy's gotta go. So, I honestly think, I Houston needs a running game, and, that was the move, and I think it's brilliant by Houston. They're trying to stay in this.
I think it's as close to a win-win as you can get, even though I'd love David Montgomery to stay in Detroit, obviously, as a Detroit fan. But knowing that you can't pay everyone, getting at least an interior offensive lineman that's played in the cold. I know that the Lions play inside, but they play a lot of outdoor cold places as well. He played at Penn State. The kid has nice numbers, not great, but, like, maybe nice is what you need. You saw that the Lions need help on the interior, the more people retiring, all of these things. So, I don't know, I kind of think that's an interesting one. I'm very curious to see where these quarterbacks end up. Obviously, it's next week coming. I think we could see so many. The chances, I don't know. I got to see your guy, Jeff Halfley. I'm
Love Hap.
so curious. Love it. Love it. So curious to see kind of what they decide because he has such a clear vision. And when you have that clear of a vision, I didn't ask him about Tua. It's not my place to ask that. So, I just was like, okay, so what's the vision? How do you want to do it? And it's so clear and so precise that I feel like we're gonna see some cool moves out of them. Miami could take some big strides because I you know, I think the Pats will regress a little. I think that there's an
Who?
opportunity.
The who's gonna regress?
The Pats, a little bit.
Why? I mean, what about the Pats gonna
The
regress?
number of wins. I just think the schedule is harder this year.
I mean, I think the defense will still be intact, right? All the free agents will still
Hard
be
to win that
paid.
many games again. It just in general, year
Here's the
over
thing,
year.
it's not like the Pats won games. People say I'm light schedule, light schedule. It's not like the Pats won games because some wide receiver went and had a 2,000-yard season, right? Or some
Yeah.
running back went and just went off and it's not gonna be replicated. The way the Pats won is very easy to replicate in terms of team football. Good defense, pretty good offense. Is it Henderson? Is it this Ramondre Stevenson? Is it Diggs's game? Is it this guy's game? So I just feel like a lot of the Patriots wins is pretty replicable. Did I say that right?
Yeah, yeah.
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 So I definitely think that, yeah, look, it's hard to win. I'm at 14 games every year.
It is hard to win that number of games.
Yeah. But I will say this about Miami. I'm starting to get sources because a lot of my players now are hitting me up about free agency
Yep.
and asking me about certain cities or ask me like where would the kids go to school or ask me what a coaching staff's like. I play for a couple organizations, so I
Mhm.
know I know what certain areas of the countries like to live in, and I'm getting calls,
Yep.
a few of them this last week about guys after the combine thinking about certain places and what that would be like, and I'm excited. So I keep it real about every team I played for and what coaches I played for and whatnot. And it's really exciting time of year, in my opinion. Free agency is the most exciting time because this is the draft is great, that's the future, but the free agency is the most program shifting move you can have in a day or
Yep.
two.
Okay, I just
Your new
wanna give you
quarterback.
the Pats schedule. I just wanna tell you their opponents. I don't know we don't
Let's
know
hear
the
it.
order, but their opponents. You ready?
All
Okay, so
NFL teams.
division, got it. Bears, Chiefs, Lions, Jags, Seahawks, Chargers, Broncos, Packers, Raiders,
Oh,
Vikings,
so they have the AFC West and the
and Steelers.
so what's their divisions they're playing? The AFC West
AFC West,
and the NFC
NFC
what?
North.
See, those are two tough divisions. So guess what? The whole division's record's going to be down.
Understand. I'm just
Right, the
saying.
whole
I'm
division's
just
record's
saying.
going to be down for
Although
sure.
I'm pretty excited. I see that they're playing at the Chargers, which means, that's a game I could maybe go to. So it's
And
exciting.
guess what, Cynthia? There's going to be 6 new head coaches next year. Not every team. About six of these teams in this league going to fire whoever they had. It wasn't good enough. So that's kind of we didn't anticipate 10 new coaches this year, like some of these teams are going to be horrible, even though we think they're going to be good. We always think oh, this is our year. We're going to get this coach. We're going to get this player. Nah, you're fired. So a quarter of the league going to change these coaches in a year anyway. So we'll see. I guarantee you Vrabel's going to be there another year or two. I know the Pats got a good coach. And the quarterback, that's half the battle, more than half the battle.
I don't think the Seahawks get a new coach.
No.
I think he's bought some time. Look, you're right. I'm with you, but I still think it's just hard to win 14 games in any season, let's
Oh,
be clear. So, I
for
don't know,
sure.
that's a hard schedule. All right. So, before we get out of here, just one I want to know we like predictions on this pod. I want to know one free agent prediction that you feel like you're excited to see next week. Obviously, the league year doesn't start till March 11th, but on March 9th, we can legally tamper. Whatever that means.
Yeah. Okay, I think the biggest thing is what I want to see is what our boy Jeff Halfley and them do with Tua, right? And I feel as if maybe not a huge no-brainer here, but I think Tua's played his last game as a Dolphin. So what is that? How does that start the quarterback domino? If Tua's at the top of it or if Kyler's at the top of it, some teams got to make decisions on are they staying with their guy, are they moving on with their guy, and then that's going to affect the bottom of the domino chain.
Yep.
But I feel like Miami brings in a new quarterback here.
Do they win the Malik Willis lottery?
Do they win the Malik Willis?
Well, just because
lottery?
of familiarity, right? Jeff
Yeah.
Hafley, obviously familiar, more has a deeper insight. Like if I'm Hafley, I'm telling everyone I love him, even if I don't. Or maybe I'm not saying anything if I don't love him, and I'm saying everything if I do. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
And
I don't know.
what would the Malik Willis deal look like? Is it he's your franchise guy? He's got to prove something for a year. Is he a bridge? Is he the face? I know that Miami
I
is
don't think that I think they give him I
the
think
bridge
it looks a
deal.
lot like Sam Darnold.
Yeah, the bridge
Even
deal.
though Sam was more proven, I mean, the cap's gone up by 10%. So let's just put a rider on top of that's the 10% premium for, now it's the money's going to look similar to, I'm just guessing. The money looks similar to Sam, but you're less proven. So there's that premium, right? There's that 10% premium.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Miami gets a different quarterback. It's not Malik Willis.
Ooh. Do you think it's an MJ?
I'm gonna lean closer to MJ.
That's the one
Because
whoever wins that one, I think it's the Mac Jones lottery. Now you gotta give up I was looking at you probably gotta give up a second for him.
ooh,
But
yeah.
is that I think that's
When
are
I
you
think of,
kidding me?
when I think of Jeff Hafley, I think you got to build in new plays, new philosophies. And do you want your offense to be tailored around a Malik Willis, which I feel you have to tailor an offense for him, or do you want to tailor your offense more quote unquote pro style like Mac Jones? What
Yep.
system do you want to run in Miami going forward, both offensively and defensively? And you got to bring in players both offensively and defensively to not only fit that system, but to be the face or create. This is our new system. We're running a 4-3 man-to-man defense now. We're running this on offense now. And I feel like if I'm completely rebuilding a team, I'm starting with an offense closer to what Shanahan runs, what they run in Green Bay,
Mhm.
what they run in LA, then maybe a Malik Willis tailored type of offense, which I think he could be a great quarterback in an offense that fits him. You can't fit him in a certain offense, right? So
They do have 2 third-round picks. They have a first, a second, and 2 third, just so we're clear. Just in case you're wondering what they were kinda working with. So if they could somehow trick the 49ers into, giving a third for him, then, I mean, there's no world that happens. It'd have to be a second, I believe, but, that's my
so
guess
Mac
based
Jones
on
is
the
still under
conditional pick.
contract. That's why he has to be traded?
I
Okay.
believe so,
Let
yes.
me
Yep.
ask you this
Yep.
for
Yep.
our viewers and our fans. What is something you learned at the combine that you have not yet told, but you can share? What is something that you
Oof.
feel like
Let's see.
is good to know, safe to share, but have not yet told on TV yet?
Let's see what's safe to say.
I'm gonna out all our
I just
sources.
don't wanna
Here
get
we
in
go.
trouble.
For the
Yeah, no,
people, for the
it's good.
pod.
For the pod, I think one of the things that I learned probably about I don't know, I think that the way people view I just don't wanna get myself in trouble here. Uh, I think that maybe some podium time for a certain wide receiver from USC hurt his stock. I think that was a little weird. I think it ended up being, it came across probably not the same way that he had anticipated it.
Yeah. And I don't know what he anticipated by doing that. Lemon out of USC. But
Yeah,
I still think he goes in the first round, and I still
I
think
do.
he can really play football.
Oh, I
Um,
don't think he, like,
oh, yeah,
killed
no,
us
no doubt.
I
No,
mean, I don't think
I
he killed his stock. Right,
you know,
right.
that's why you hire me to be your interview coach,
That's
because
right.
he only hurt himself with with acting like that, and that's how he is or whatnot, then
And it's also gonna be a question that he's gonna have to
yeah.
answer now
Oh, he's gonna have a
600
lot of
times, which
visits.
annoys
He's gonna have a lot of visits, so, right, you said teams now
Yep,
have top 30 visits where they can pick 30 guys to come in their facility,
yep,
and they sit down, and they go over tape with them, they
yep,
interview them for hours, they take them to dinner. He's gonna have 30 of them. So when you have to go do that with every team, you're in New Orleans on Tuesday, then Wednesday you're in New York, and then Thursday you're in Cali, and then Friday you're in Kansas City, then Saturday you're off, and then Sunday. Guess what you're not doing? You're not working on your route craft. You're not running. You go to the hotel gyms the best you want, but you got to also focus on that interview. So when you have so many of those, instead of a guy like Downs whose character is so put together, or Carnell Tate, he don't have to a team can draft him without having to bring him in because they know so much from his reputation. So what happens, I've been with guys that when they show up to rookie minicamp, they throw up the first practice because they have not been running around. They've been on so many visits, answering so many questions that they're so out of football shape. Then it's a whole nother mess of getting them back in football shape. So that's what he pretty much subject himself to is now 30
yeah.
visits with every team, 32 visits.
Oh, and then once he's on a team, interview questions.
Oh, yeah.
Are you like, I like, the media, like, you've just made it very annoying for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, that you've just made a lot more work for yourself, and I feel bad because like, they're kids and whatever, but unfortunately, you see the impact that going through like, again, a lot of this is just, like, going through the process, and you see the impact that has. It's not gonna make him not drafted. It's not gonna he's gonna be a first rounder. I was saying something that I think, like, is a behind inside baseball thing, right? Like, not a, like, he didn't do anything that's gonna really hurt himself. It just was he's gonna annoy the crap out of
Yeah.
himself.
No, listen, he runs
Learn a
routes
lesson.
inside, outside, a lot of JSN like, shifty.
Yep,
Um, teams like that. Teams like that nowadays for sure. So he's gonna have
for
to go
sure.
earn it.
But now they've just given him all the fodder ever. I also had I finally found a player who, was really and I'm not gonna say who just because it's their personal thing, but I finally found a player, this is my favorite thing that I've learned about this player, who openly admits to going to therapy, which I believe is, like, especially in this world of, like, NIL and transfer portal, all stuff, like, having your foundation is so important, and I, like, love this kid, and I have been talking to my scouts about him, and I'm like, "This is so mature." knowing that he didn't come from a place where he had that foundation or whatever inspired him to go. You know, I go to therapy, like I'm a big fan of it, but I finally found the first prospect that openly admits to going to therapy, aka my new favorite NFL player.
You want to share his name?
Current, because former it's you.
You want
What's
to share
that?
his name or no? I'm pro. I'm for it.
No, that's his personal business, but
Yeah, no,
he didn't share it publicly,
I think
but
that's a pro. I mean, I definitely hired
I think it's
I
incredible.
had a therapist for years and sports psychiatrist and everything, performance coaches. I always want to find the edge
So important.
because you deal with a lot. We all deal with a lot. Day to day is hard, so obviously you talk about public performance on top of that and social media nowadays and pressure performing and whatnot. And
Yeah, 360.
it's a mental game.
360, you are seeing
Any
it.
NFL player would tell you it's more mental than physical. More mental than physical, 100%.
Yep. So I just like, if he wants to say it on a podium, great. He said it privately to a group of people, so I just don't wanna that's not mine to share, but if he wants to say it on podium, I encourage him to do so, but, that was
Look, hopefully I can
I was
convince
all
some
in on that.
guys, some NFL free agents to let me break their news. That's my goal, to try to
Yep.
break one deal to beat Rap Sheet, try to break one deal before Rap Sheet
You
this
got this.
year,
You got
and
this.
see if I can get some real insider and break a deal. That's gonna be my goal
Great.
the next few weeks.
I love that. I mean, I can't like, you do that, let me
But
know, I'll
I'm not
retweet
gonna
that
be
sucker fast.
trying the hardest. I will be going to sleep at normal hours. I'm not waking up at 2 in the morning to do it. So if you get me in the morning to when my kids gotta be picked up from school, in that 9 to 3 range, I got you. After that, I may be unavailable. I'm not skipping a date night. Yeah, I went to dinner with Rap Sheet. Rap Sheet came to my house one time in Tampa when the Super Bowl was there, and, I mean, he's my guy. He had us step away 5 times. I mean, he's a tough dinner
He's a
tough
tough
hang. I
hang.
mean, he was
I love Rap Sheet too, but he's a tough hang because he can't put the
yeah,
phone
no,
down,
his screen
like,
time is up over 15 hours or something a day. So
it has
it's
to be.
crazy. I don't wanna live that life, but convenient.
Mrs.
I'll
Rap
be a
Sheet is
convenient
really
insider
patient.
between normal working hours
Great.
before my kids get off of school.
A convenient insider. I love it. Well, have a great week. We will be back here. We're going to have some different schedules coming up, but we will make sure you get all set post this first round of free agency, which we both expect to be a
Major.
massively interesting one, maybe the most interesting one yet. And I'm not overselling
I'm
by
saying
saying
it.
that I actually think this could be, I'm all in. I want chaos, baby. Pure chaos. Let's go. We'll see you next week. Make sure to subscribe, like all of the things. Thanks for hanging out. We will be back with you next week.